Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're cutting through the noise to give you a real understanding of something, well, pretty fundamental. How tiny, repeated actions shape, well, everything.
Yeah.
From our personal habits to how whole organizations succeed or don't.
Right.
We're talking about that unseen power of momentum, how the small things you do every day can either, push you towards your goals.
Trap you.
Exactly. Trap you in these cycles that feel impossible to get out of.
Yeah, and our mission here really is to get beyond just good habits and bad habits. We want to actually dissect the mechanics behind these reinforcing patterns.
These virtuous chains and vicious loops you mentioned.
Precisely. We want to give you practical insights drawing from, psychology, neuroscience, business, even public health.
For real, Mick.
So you can actively start managing them in your own life. Become the architect.
Okay, let's dive in then. The engine of progress. These virtuous chains. What exactly are they? What makes them tick?
Well, think of a virtuous chain simply as a sequence where one positive action sort of naturally leads to the next.
Okay.
It creates this accelerating effect. It's not just doing one good thing, it's more like setting off a cascade.
So what's the psychology behind that? Why does doing one thing make us want to do the next positive thing?
It really taps into how our brains learn, how habits get built. Repetition literally strengthens the neural pathways for a behavior.
Right.
James Clear talks about this. Simple routines become almost automatic. Our brains get super efficient. It's like, hey, this worked. Let's keep it rolling.
Like paving a path, the more you walk it, the easier it gets.
Exactly.
So how do we intentionally, lay down those positive paths?
That's where habit stacking, another idea from Clear, is really practical. The trick is linking a new habit you want
Right.
directly onto an existing habit that's already rock solid.
Oh, okay.
So instead of just saying, I'll stretch more, maybe you say, after I pour my morning coffee, then I'll do 1 minute of stretching.
You're piggybacking on the coffee habit.
You got it. You're hitching the new goal onto an existing strong neural connection.
So the old habit triggers the new one. One little win sets up the next.
Precisely. Each step you complete becomes the cue for the next one. And this really small step-by-step approach, it can lead to massive change over time. Building a bridge, one solid brick after another.
Okay, let's zoom out a bit. How does this work in bigger settings, like a team or a whole company?
Charles Duhigg's work on keystone habits is fascinating here. He found that sometimes focusing on just one core routine can spark positive changes across the board.
One routine.
Yeah, he gives this great example of a manufacturing plant. They decided to really double down on improving their safety reporting procedures.
Safety reports seems a bit specific. How did that trigger bigger stuff?
Well, what's interesting is, yes, accidents went down, but the focus on safety also created a culture of more open communication.
Okay.
Workers felt safer speaking up about anything, not just safety. That boosted confidence, led to better ideas, higher productivity, the whole 9 yards. So tackling that one key thing, safety, it set off this positive chain reaction through the whole system, like the first domino.
That's a powerful illustration, a narrow focus with wide ripples. Now, what's happening in our brains reinforcing this upward climb?
Yeah, so neuroscientifically, our brain's reward system is key, especially dopamine.
Dopamine, right.
When we do something positive, achieve a little win, we get a hit of dopamine. It signals, hey, that was good, do it again.
The brain's little reward signal.
Exactly. It creates that wanting feeling, motivating you to continue the chain. And the more you repeat it, get those little rewards, the stronger those neural pathways get. It makes the behavior feel easier, more automatic. Dopamine's the fuel keeping the chain going.
So our brain gives us a little thumbs up for each step, nudging us along. You mentioned a business philosophy that fits this too.
Yes, Kaizen. The Japanese concept. It's all about small, ongoing improvements. Continuous, incremental changes rather than massive, disruptive ones.
Bit by bit.
Exactly. Those small, positive tweaks add up over time, leading to really significant progress. Just like the links in a virtuous chain.
Can we nail this down with a few more real-world examples?
Yeah.
Different areas.
Sure. Take education. A student starts participating a bit more in class, maybe understands things better.
Confidence boost.
Right. That confidence makes them ask more questions, engage more deeply. It's a positive feedback loop for learning.
Okay.
Or digital products. A user has a really smooth first experience. They're more likely to explore more, right? Tell their friends.
Word of mouth.
Exactly. Starts a chain of user growth. And fitness, someone starts with short, consistent workouts. They feel a bit more energy.
Yeah.
That energy motivates them to stick with it, maybe even try something harder. A cycle of improving health. It's all about those initial small wins building momentum.
Okay, got it. Positive spirals lifting us up. Now, the flip side, the dark side.
Yeah.
Vicious cycles. Why are they so damn hard to break?
Oh, vicious cycles are basically self-feeding loops where negative stuff leads to more negative stuff. A downward spiral.
Yeah.
And they're tough because the consequences of the cycle actually fuel its continuation. It feeds itself.
Can you give us a clear psychological example?
Procrastination is a classic one. You avoid a task you dread.
Feel relief for a second.
Exactly, short-term relief. But the task is still there, maybe feeling even bigger now. So anxiety goes up, leading to more avoidance. And that avoidance reinforces the belief that, I can't handle this or this task is impossible, digs the hole deeper.
So the quick fix makes the long-term problem worse. What about at work? How do these cycles show up professionally?
Oh, burnout is a prime example. Really high stress for a long time leads to exhaustion. Maybe you start disliking your job.
Performance dips.
Right. And that poor performance might lead to more pressure, feeling inadequate, which just ramps up the stress and burnout again.
That sounds awful.
Yeah, and some research even suggests burnout makes you perceive more stressors at work, so it's a truly self-perpetuating negative loop.
Feels like quicksand once that momentum builds. And these aren't just individual things, right? They affect communities too.
Absolutely. They have huge social and public health impacts. Think about, say, poverty and lack of access to good education.
They go hand in hand often.
Right. Kids in poorer areas might get fewer opportunities, limiting job prospects later, which kind of keeps the poverty cycle going. Research shows these things get tangled up, each one reinforcing the other unless something breaks the pattern.
It's a stark reminder of how these forces get embedded.
Yeah.
And disease spread fits this too, doesn't it?
Perfectly. An uncontrolled virus spreading, that's a negative chain reaction. Every new infection means more chances for it to spread further.
Right.
That's why public health focuses so hard on breaking the chain of infection. Vaccines, contact tracing, it's all about interrupting that negative cascade.
And even our digital lives aren't immune, it seems.
Not at all. Think about social media algorithms. They're built to keep you scrolling, right? So if you click on negative or angry stuff, the algorithm thinks, they like this, and shows you more of it.
Creates an echo chamber.
Exactly. Or just an addictive loop of scrolling through stuff that makes you feel bad. Each click, even if it's unpleasant, can actually reinforce the cycle.
Okay, so we've got these two powerful forces. Positive chains pulling us up, vicious cycles dragging us down. But life isn't usually just one or the other operating alone, is it?
You're absolutely right. Way more often they're interacting, influencing each other.
How so?
Well, think about someone stuck in a cycle of unhealthy eating and low energy. They might decide to consciously build a positive chain, say, starting a fun, regular exercise routine.
Okay.
That first positive step, the little energy boost it gives, that might provide the nudge they need to start making slightly better food choices, beginning to chip away at the negative cycle.
So a deliberate positive action can kind of wedge open a negative spiral. What about the other way around? Can negativity undermine the good stuff?
Oh, definitely. Imagine a team that's got great new workflows, going a positive chain, boosting productivity.
Things are humming.
Right. But then maybe a negative cycle starts, internal fights, bad communication. That negativity can totally derail the good workflows, kill morale, and stop that positive momentum dead in its tracks.
It really shows how much the environment, the social piece, matters. Either boosts you up or pulls you down.
Totally. Research on social norms backs this up. Behavior spread in groups, creating these upward or downward spirals.
Like what?
Well, if enough people in a community start, say, consistently recycling, it creates a sort of social expectation. More people join in a virtuous community cycle.
Right.
But the opposite is true, too. If, littering becomes common and nobody seems to care, it makes it harder for individuals to bother picking things up, a vicious cycle of apathy.
So our own efforts get amplified or dampened by what's around us. And this applies in schools too, right? Affecting learning.
Exactly. Public health folks looking at schools see this clearly. Schools can actually intervene in cycles of, say, poor health leading to poor grades, leading back to poor health choices. By creating supportive climates, offering things like tutoring programs, health support, mental health resources, basically building positive chains of support and success that can counteract those negative cycles of kids disengaging or dropping out.
It really drives home how our current path, good or bad, just tends to gather steam and reinforce itself.
That's the core idea. Momentum matters, but a single setback isn't destiny if you actively counter it with positive actions. And early success isn't guaranteed if you let negative cycles creep in and erode it. It's about being aware and consciously steering things.
Okay, we are now very aware of these forces. So what can we actually do? What are some solid strategies to strengthen the good chains and break the bad cycles in our own lives?
Great question. There are several really practical, evidence-backed approaches. First, fundamental one, build and stack small habits.
Back to James Clear.
Yeah. Start tiny. Ridiculously small, manageable actions, and link them directly to routines you already have.
Like the coffee and stretching example.
Exactly. After I brush my teeth, I will meditate for 1 minute. That habit stacking uses the brain's existing wiring, making the new habit much more likely to stick.
Okay.
Then, over time, you can chain these tiny habits together, create bigger rituals, use the momentum from one to flow into the next. The key is making that first step almost laughably easy.
Takes the pressure off, right? Unless
Yeah.
you get that first win. Okay, what else?
Another huge one is cultivating a growth mindset. Carol Dweck's work here is seminal.
Growth mindset, right? Believing you can improve.
Exactly. Believing abilities aren't fixed, but can be developed through effort. People with a growth mindset see challenges not as roadblocks, but as chances to learn. It's the direct opposite of a fixed mindset, where you might just give up when things get tough.
So it's about changing how we talk to ourselves about failure or difficulty.
Totally. Instead of, I failed, I'm bad at this, it's, okay, that didn't work. What can I learn? How can I approach it differently? Focus on effort, learning, small steps forward. It stops you getting trapped in those negative loops of self-doubt. Remember that quote. You're in charge of your mind. You can help it grow by using it in the right way.
That internal narrative is key. What about our surroundings, our environment?
Oh, designing your environment is incredibly powerful, surprisingly so. The idea is simple. Make good habits easy and obvious, and bad habits difficult and hidden.
Like putting running shoes by the door.
Precisely. Or keeping the guitar in sight if you want to practice, and maybe hiding the sugary snacks way in the back of the cupboard.
Make the good path the path of least resistance.
You got it. And behavior change psychology also highlights immediate rewards. Make the positive action feel good right away, even in a small way. Track progress on an app. Get that little dopamine hit of accomplishment. And for bad habits, add friction. Uninstall the distracting app, use a website blocker, make it harder to slip into the cycle.
So, engineer our space, physical and digital, to help us. What about other people? Social connections.
Crucial. Seek social support and accountability. Our networks are huge drivers. Joining groups, study groups, running clubs, online communities gives you that shared purpose, positive peer pressure.
You don't feel like you're doing it alone.
Right. And just talking about your goals, your wins, even your struggles with friends or mentors, that provides encouragement, keeps you honest. In companies, good leaders who model positive stuff can really help break negative team cycles.
That external support structure bolsters our own willpower. Now, what if the cycle involves deep-seated fear or anxiety? Things we avoid.
Yeah, for those, a technique called using gradual exposure is often really effective. Instead of facing the huge fear all at once.
It's just terrifying.
Right, you break it down, approach it in small, manageable steps. Research shows this works. You confront the fear bit by bit in a controlled way. It builds confidence and reduces anxiety over time. You're basically creating a new chain of positive mastery experiences to replace the old avoidance loop.
Gently dip your toe in. Build confidence slowly. Okay. And finally, how do we make sure these positive changes actually last? Stick around.
That's where continuous improvement and reflection comes in. Think Kaizen for your personal life.
The small, ongoing tweaks.
Exactly. Regularly check in. How are my routines working? What are the strong links in my positive chains? Where are the weak spots? Are any negative cycles trying to creep back in?
How do you do that practically?
Things like journaling, maybe a quick weekly review. It's like the business cycle. Plan, do, check, act. You try a habit, see how it goes, check. Then adjust, act, and plan the next step. These small iterative tweaks are vital for keeping your positive chains strong and effective long term.
So it's not just set and forget. It's an ongoing process of building, checking, adjusting. Feels like we have more control than we might think over these deep patterns.
Absolutely. Fundamentally, lasting success is about understanding how our behaviors feed each other. These feedback loops are just how our brains and the systems we're in work. So, by consciously focusing on maintaining the chain of positive habits, positive results, you massively up your odds of long-term success. And by actively working to disrupt the cycle of negative patterns, you stop setbacks from becoming downward spirals.
It really comes back to that empowering idea from Carol Dweck. You are in charge of your mind. We can cultivate habits and outlooks that help us grow.
Exactly. It takes self-awareness, using these strategies, maybe leaning on your community, but we absolutely can break free from those destructive loops and let the good momentum, those virtuous chains, carry us forward. Those consistent small efforts, they really do compound. They change routines, yes, but ultimately they can change the whole trajectory of your life.
So as you think about all this, maybe consider this. What's just one positive chain you want to consciously strengthen in your life right now? And maybe one negative cycle you feel ready to start disrupting. Remember, those consistent small steps, they really can lead to huge sustainable change. Thanks for diving deep with us today.